You think you know your family. You think their words can't cut deeper than a stranger's. But when my mom mocked my pathetic job at Christmas dinner, I felt that familiar sting of being dismissed, overlooked, and utterly invisible. Little did she know, the same laptop she'd glanced at casually held $24 million on its screen. And the moment they saw it, everything changed. If you've ever been underestimated, dismissed, or laughed at by someone you love, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and stay until the end. I promise you, this isn't just a story of revenge. It's a story of vindication that feels like sweet justice. Let's get into it. Christmas had always been complicated. On the surface, it was cozy lights, cinnamon-scented candles, and laughter echoing in the living room. But under the sparkle of tinsel, there was always this underlying pressure, expectations my family imposed on me, and the constant comparison to everyone else. My mom had perfected the art of subtle and not so subtle disappointment. That year, I decided to join the family Christmas dinner despite knowing exactly what awaited me. My job, pathetic, she'd said. My income? Don't even bring that up. She had this talent for turning any achievement or lack thereof into a weapon. I arrived in my winter coat, a modest gift in hand, and tried to blend into the background, hoping to avoid the usual interrogation about why my life hadn't followed the successful script they envisioned. But of course, my attempt at invisibility was futile. The first jab came after we sat down for dinner. My mom, with her classic Christmas cheer turned razor sharp, glanced at me and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "So, how's your job going? Still, that thing you do on the computer?" She smirked, the way only someone who enjoys another's discomfort can. I felt my chest tighten. My fingers dug into the napkin, and I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. The words were familiar, but this time, I let the simmering frustration grow silently. Before I could respond, my brother, who had always been a little too eager to join in Mom's critiques, leaned in. "Yeah, I mean, isn't that the one where you barely make anything?" I swallowed the urge to snap. I smiled instead, a calm, controlled smile that masked the whirlwind inside me. You see, I had spent the last 5 years building a business online, something they'd never understood, something they assumed was worthless. Most people who dismiss your work dismiss it because they don't see the process, only the surface. And my family, oh, they only saw the surface. After dinner, I excused myself, claiming I had a few emails to check. Truth was, I wasn't checking emails. I was preparing for the exact moment I'd always dreamed of, letting them see the truth, but on my terms. I opened my laptop, logged into my investment account, and glanced at the screen. $24 million. It stared back at me like a secret I'd carried for years, a vindication I'd waited patiently for. My heart raced, not from greed, not from excitement, but from the sheer anticipation of the shock about to hit my family. I returned to the living room, laptop in hand, pretending to scroll casually. It didn't take long. My mom, ever curious, leaned over my shoulder, peeking at the screen. Her eyes flickered an almost imperceptible twitch, but it was enough for me to know the seed of curiosity had been planted. Then my brother saw it. His face froze, eyes wide, mouth slightly open. Wait, is that? I set the laptop down on the coffee table, let the screen tilt up so both could see it clearly. "Yeah," I said softly, almost teasingly. "That's what your pathetic little job has earned me." For a moment, the room was silent, the kind of silence that comes before the storm. My mom's hand flew to her mouth. My brother leaned forward, squinting as if the numbers might vanish if he blinked. This can't be real," my mom finally whispered, disbelief thick in her voice. $24 million? I nodded, a small, victorious smile playing on my lips. "Real as it gets." That was when the real test began. My brother lunged forward, eyes gleaming with something I hadn't seen in him before: greed, entitlement, panic. "Give it to me. I mean, just hand it over," he demanded. I laughed quietly, the kind of laugh that is equal parts amusement and warning. "I don't think you understand what this is. You can't just take someone else's life savings because you suddenly realize they were successful." My mom, still reeling, tried to regain composure. "Honey, you've always been difficult. But this is ridiculous. Maybe we can share it? Share it, the audacity. I felt a thrill of power running through me, the sweet, intoxicating realization that the people who had mocked and belittled me for years now depended on my mercy. And mercy, well, that was my choice entirely. I leaned back, watching them fumble in real time, their eyes darting between me and the screen, their voices rising and falling in panicked, half-formed demands. They didn't get it. They never had. And that was the beauty of it. You see, I said slowly, savoring each word, while you were busy laughing at me, I was building something real, something you didn't even think was possible. And now, you're finally seeing the result of the so-called pathetic job. Mom gasped, looking both angry and ashamed. My brother's face flushed red, a mix of embarrassment and greed battling for dominance. What? How did you even? My mom stammered, but I cut her off. I didn't do it for you. I didn't do it to prove anything to you. I did it for me. And now, I think it's time you remember something important. Respect isn't demanded, it's earned. The room went silent again. This time, it wasn't the stunned quiet of disbelief. This was the weight of shame settling in a quiet, suffocating tension that hung in the air. My family, so used to having the upper hand, suddenly found themselves powerless. For a long moment, I let them stew in it. I let the shock wash over them fully, and then, calmly, I closed the laptop, not out of cruelty, but out of control, out of the reminder that the power wasn't theirs to take. They slumped back into the couch, mumbling apologies and excuses that sounded hollow even to themselves. My brother muttered something about investing mistakes and luck, while Mom quietly told me how proud she was. But the words felt like attempts to patch a hole in their pride. I smiled to myself. Vindication was sweet. Yes, but there was more satisfaction in knowing they finally understood what they had underestimated. Later, when they left the living room, still whispering, I sat back, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. Not because of the money, not because of the power, but because, finally, I had been seen, truly seen. Not for the job they mocked, not for the small life they assumed I led, but for the person who had quietly built her dreams, unnoticed, underestimated, and dismissed. It was a lesson I'd learned the hard way. People will mock what they don't understand. But when reality hits, it hits hard. And sometimes, just sometimes, you get to be the one holding the hammer. In the weeks after that Christmas, the dynamic shifted. My mom no longer casually insulted my career choices. My brother learned the hard way that greed has its consequences. He never dared ask about the money again. I wasn't vindictive. I wasn't cruel. I was simply a woman who had earned her respect, not begged for it. Every glance they gave me now carried a mixture of awe and caution. Every conversation subtly acknowledged that I was no longer pathetic. The satisfaction wasn't in rubbing their noses in my success. It was in watching the scales finally balance themselves. And I felt free. Life doesn't always hand out justice. Sometimes you have to craft it yourself quietly, smartly, with patience. But when it comes, it's sweeter than you ever imagined. And in that moment, I understood. Respect, earned silently and deliberately, is more powerful than any argument shouted across a dinner table. What about you? Have you ever been underestimated by someone close to you, only to show them they were wrong in the most satisfying way? Share your stories in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more stories of vindication, and hit that bell so you never miss a tale where justice isn't just served, it's unforgettable.